Hi, this is Cindy.
This is Russ.
And
we are
you're
Tanith.
listening to...
Yeah, that's where the sledding starts, yeah. We get there very quickly.
Yeah, one.
Hi, this is Cindy.
This is Russ.
And you're listening to...
What's Metal?
So yes, we're in Göppingen tonight, talking to Tanith. You've recently released your debut album through Metal Blade Records. Yeah, I try to kind of like read up a little bit on the band online. Let's start with the name. I think, I'm not sure if it has a meaning, probably not, but it's taken from some kind of a movie. Yeah, did you pick it because the movie's great or just because it sounds nice?
Both. The movie's called The Devil Rides Out.
Yeah.
Christopher Lee, fantastic movie.
Yeah.
It looks fantastic, Technicolor. And one of the characters is called Tanith. And I always like that as a name.
Basically, Christopher Lee and his buddy try to rescue Tanith from a bunch of Satanists, and then they fail, and she dies. But the name also, we looked it up, and is also the name of a Phoenician goddess of war and fertility. So she's a symbol of feminine power, and we thought that was really cool as well.
Right. So I thought you picked the name maybe to annoy the German fans, because we have problems pronouncing the TH. Yeah. So most people would say Tanith. Yes, we say Tanith in Germany. Yes, we can't pronounce the TH. We are proud of it. So no, but I think the album was very well received in Germany, right?
Sure. We got so many requests for even the single 7-inch.
Yeah.
On mail order. Most of the sales were from Germany, and still most of the correspondence we get is from Germany.
Yeah, and even most of our shows on this tour are in Germany.
Yeah, I noticed that. Yeah, you played the UK show in Belgium as well, right? And then a couple of more in Germany that are yet to come. Yeah. So how's the tour going so far? Now that you mentioned it.
It's going really well. I think people are really responding to us. I think we've made a lot of new fans on this tour, so that's good.
Yeah, there's been one show where it was pretty much a no-show as far as the public goes. But we've now done 10 shows, so 1 out of 10 is pretty good going. Every other night's been like amazing.
Yeah. Did you mostly organize that yourself? Because when I look at the touring schedule, well, the lineup or the list of bands that plays the different nights changes quite a bit. So you're touring alone, I suppose, and you have different support bands or co-bands on the different nights, right?
We have a guy helping us, our manager, and he's not on this tour, but he certainly put it together. There's no way any of us could have put together something this complicated. Like, as he said, so many different types of venue and lineups. So we're very grateful to him for that. It's just up to us to come out here and do the shows.
What's kind of interesting is that some nights, I guess towards the beginning of the tour, most of the nights we were headlining, and then now we're getting mixed in with some other bands as like opening for them. So it's been kind of a fun mix of working like the beginning, warming up the crowd, and then also really trying to show our stuff at the end as the headliners.
Yeah. So I know that you obviously also play in Satan because it's also used as a bit for the marketing. Obviously, I'm not sure if you play in other bands in parallel or played in other bands before and have been active touring.
I have never been active touring outside of Tanith. I've played some stuff with Russ just for fun kind of things, and I've played in just kind of like thrown together bands back home in Brooklyn and also in Florida when I lived in Florida, but nothing like this. Yeah.
So from your experience, Russ, the tour now, is that like organized on a different level than let's say a tour that you would have done with Satan? Is it probably more simplistic? Is it maybe going a bit back in time for you, or?
It's definitely coming back to grassroots, DIY. I knew that, and I don't have a problem with it. This is a new band. We have to start properly, opening for people.
Yeah. I mean, before we come back to the music, I think in general bands nowadays probably wouldn't reach the level of popularity that they used to get maybe in the 80s or late 70s. When you had really big bands, maybe playing music not too different from what you're doing. So where would you see the band going over time? Do you want to achieve a certain level of popularity, or because like things have changed, right?
I would like for the music we do to become accepted. We know that there's a lot of reactionary metalheads out there, in the metal world, and that's fine too. But the people that gravitate towards Tanith, they're the ones we want anyway. And there seems to be quite a few of them. And
I'm not really meaning it in the context of maybe narrow-minded metalheads. It's more like, I don't know, let's say with music that you're playing, maybe in the late 70s, early 80s, you could fill a stadium, right, on the extreme side of things. But I suppose these times are over, so that will never happen again.
Well, I never got to that point in the 80s anyway, because, it's kind of like a false start with Satan, and then things went wrong. But as far as Tanith goes, just for us to have a voice in the rock world, the rock metal world, for these guys to be able to come over every year and us to do a nice run like this, and hopefully next time a little bit more wider and bigger places, that would be perfect. But we're not, we don't have any ideas above our station kind of thing. But we know how good we are.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So you mentioned it earlier, that initially you released a 7-inch, right? That was the first sign of life, which I found initially maybe a bit odd, or not the normal thing that people would do these days. They might send around a few MP3s maybe, or I don't know, choose a format that everyone can use. But with the research of vinyl, it's coming back now. But then again, like in the early 80s, probably most bands started out with a 7-inch, right?
Well, I think it was basically Russ's idea, and maybe Charlie's as well, to kind of get these songs down, do it, see what happens. But we really wanted to do it the old school way that Russ remembered doing back in the 80s, which was recording onto tape and then doing the whole process analog, basically. So no computers involved, no Pro Tools. And that's why we decided to do the 7-inch vinyl. We thought it'd be a nice little package, nothing too big or complicated. Get some nice album art, for the 7-inch, and just see what happens. Really, it was just to get people to listen to it and into as many ears as possible.
Yeah. So you did the same thing for the full album, right? So it's also full analog recording, as far as I know.
Yes.
I mean, in days of modern recording equipment, is it actually difficult to find a place where you can do this?
It certainly is. You wouldn't believe how difficult it is. There are the amount left in the world that are operational, or you can count them on, 2 hands. It doesn't get into double figures. It's so hard to maintain these machines. And I'm glad that we took the chance to do it. Well, we could, because nobody knows how much longer these machines will be in operation, because nobody can afford to use them anymore.
Yeah.
We decided to spend a bit extra right from the get-go and just give people something that will not freeze their brain. The way digital music can, you get like fatigue of the ears and the brain cells that are receiving the information.
All right.
Because it's been broken down into a million pieces.
Yeah. I suppose it's not only a problem getting, let's say, the tapes, but also to have the people that can operate the machines, right? Like the equipment. I don't know if you get trained as a producer nowadays, you probably don't get trained on analog equipment anymore, right?
No, I think it's mostly like guys who have been doing it for a long time. So they're going to be older guys that know the guy who did ours, Hugh Poole, knows all the machinery inside and out. We were so impressed with how quick he was, because we went in thinking, oh gosh, how long is this going to take, But he was relatively fast working, and I think the beauty of it is just being able to make choices right then and there, like, okay, we're going to go with this one, this is it, this is the mix, this is the take. You can't go back and fix everything later.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I know that you're still living in the UK, right? But you're traveling over quite a bit to New York City, Russ. Yeah.
Yeah.
So how do you go about rehearsing then? Do you have a rehearsal room in New York then, or?
Well, I've been commuting to New York for 5 years, and Cindy's been commuting to England for 5 years. It's only been the last 2 years where the band has been a thing between us as well, and we just turned up the heat a little bit more. Like, I would sometimes come over for 5-7 days, and then I started coming over for weeks. Like one time it was over a month when we recorded the album. And you could do a lot in a month in terms of rehearsing, writing even, and certainly recording. And we even managed to throw in some live shows during that time. And really, it's how long is a piece of string? I mean, you just have to decide how long you want to spend doing this stuff. Work out how much it's going to cost to do that, and do it. I mean, there's no way around it. It's an expensive way to live, yes.
Yeah. Absolutely. The rent for a rehearsal place is probably rather small, compared to airfares. Yeah, no.
Definitely, yeah.
Not much left. But
No, it is. The airfares.
Yeah, I think you started out making music together as part of a cover band, right? Or playing cover songs. Is this correct?
Yeah. So Russ has, a lot of shows that he does solo, and sometimes with a band that he puts together. And we thought we'd try doing it because I play bass, and we just, I guess I kind of learned that I could sing and play bass at the same time through doing this with him. And we liked doing it, and we wanted to do more of it. So I think, forming Tanith was just a way of doing it, but with original music. Yeah. And something that works with how we play and our voices as well. Yeah.
Are there any cover songs that you include in your sets when you're playing with Tanith?
There's one we'll be doing tonight, I believe. It's a Uriah Heep number.
All right.
Should I say what it is?
We'll be saving that till the end.
Yeah.
Okay. Otherwise, I would be running around and tell everyone who's here tonight.
It's fine.
Yeah,
it's just a little Uriah Heep cover.
Okay. Along. Great, good stuff. Okay, so to me personally, your music is very emotional. Yeah, so it touches me quite a bit. So when you're composing this, I always wonder. I mean, I'm not a musician really. I'm not a composer, but how do you decide what to throw out and what to keep? Yeah, because I mean, the full emotional experience, I suppose, only comes when the song is fully finished. But until you get there, you're working on all these little tiny things and arrangements and so on, which I think might be rather maybe technical or logical. But at some point, you end up with something that's very emotional. So maybe you can describe that process a little bit to me, that I understand it a bit better.
At some point, you have to make a decision, because with composition, ideas don't stop coming. You start with something and you think it's going to go somewhere, and then another idea will occur to you. You think, oh, that would work really well too. So you kind of put it on hold, and then another idea comes. You've got 5 or 6 ideas floating in your head, the possibilities of each one, and you just have to share them and get everybody's evaluation. You have an idea which ones you like, but the thing about being in a band is it has to be a group decision.
Yeah, that's one of the key things about any of our songs, is that we all have to like them. And I try to approach our music as like an outside listener when I'm listening to some of the ideas. Like, there has to be an arc, there has to be some sort of story that's being told. And I think that's what in the end gives that emotional impact. So we do a lot of iterations of the songs and arrangements and try different things to find what works and kind of tells that story. Yeah.
And at some point, it has to be realized. You have to decide this is how it's going to go, and then stick with that.
Yeah.
Basically, so you can start taking care of another idea that you have, or even like Charlie comes up with things, and he comes to me straight away. So it works the same both ways. Any idea that Zille has too. So
I think when we were getting ready for our first set of shows, we had a limited amount of time. It was like, well, and we're going to play these. These are all the songs we know. And it was like a limited amount of time. And it was like, well, these are the best ideas that we could come up with in the amount of time we had. So we're going to call it and we're going to go with it. And that's going to be it. So it seems to work.
they didn't really change much, did they?
There were some things. Yeah, there were some little things at the end there.
Right. Okay. So and lyric-wise, I'm not sure who's composing most of the lyric. Would that be you or both of you or?
Well, it is both of us, but even Charlie has contributed some lyrics, and Charlie's partner Shauna even came up with a vocal melody which we use in Wing of the Owl for the verse. So it's very comprehensive input from the band and our close significant others.
Okay, yeah, I don't want to artificially focus too much on the two of you now. Okay, but that's good. Is there any, let's say guideline for the band what the lyrics should be about in terms of, because I mean you're not, let's say, writing clearly, let's say political lyrics, yeah. Even though I mean there might be some aspects in there that could be interpreted in this way, or like your view of the world, maybe like Under the Stars, I think, which might be a bit more critical about modern way of life and raising kids and so on. And the cover artwork obviously goes in a bit like a classical hard rock fantasy direction, maybe. So is there some overall decision? Okay, we definitely won't touch, let's say, certain topics or certain political things.
We try not to be protest band as such. We don't want to be angry about anything. So if it's even possible, we'd like to sort of play hard rock music, but have a positive message over the top, or even just share an interest in stories such as Cassini, which actually happened. The spaceship that went to Saturn. Even reimagining Homer. The story of Zeus and his son Dionysus. It's basically taking that right down to a personal level, and an imaginary conversation that Zeus would have had with his son. That's what that song is, Dionysus. So.
I think a lot of the songs are kind of about the idea of possibilities. There's a bit of that fantasy, sci-fi angle to it, but there's also that kind of thread of human experience that I feel like is kind of woven into each. It's like the Dionysus one. There's a personal story there. I think there's something of a personal story in most of the songs.
Yeah. Okay.
Some are out and out fantasy, because I'm somebody that likes to use music as an escape, not something that reminds me of my everyday life and real stuff.
So the show's called What's Metal? So we always have this as the last question. I mean, what is that actually? What is metal? Or in your case, maybe what is hard rock? Is there a definition for it, or how would you personally put it?
Metal is an attitude. I think more so it's about the attitude of a band than the actual music itself. It's how you live, how you interact with each other as a band, how you interact with the audience, and basically just being cool people. And as far as even possible, open-mindedness. And as I said, there are elements in the metal world that are not open-minded, and that's fine. But hard rock is more of a 70s attitude, maybe a little bit more hippie-ish, but certainly the metal scene right now is it feels much more like a family, even when we're touring with other bands like the guys in Screamer and Ram, and even in New York, Nature, Donovan, all those bands. The interaction between the bands was really cool and special. Everybody's so giving and supportive, and I remember in the 80s it just was not like that. It was like a snake pit. There is a genuine spirit of people wanting to help each other, so I'm pretty pleased about that. That to me is what metal is about.
I think if I had to quickly describe metal, to me it is music that is heavy, that is kind of forward moving, but so that you get that release, but it's also from the heart. There's something
That's what I wanted to say.
Yeah, sure. That's what's so great about it, is that you really feel it and it gets your blood flowing and you feel alive when you hear it, and that's what I love about heavy metal.
Yeah, just strike my answer. That was perfect.